Hi everybody, it's Barbara and welcome back to my channel. I have some Farmhouse Dollar Tree DIYs for you today and we're going to get started right now. I am using this chalkboard sign from Dollar Tree. I went ahead and removed the sticker from the back, and I'm also going to be using the top part of a 5-gallon paint stir stick. You can find these at your local home improvement store. I've already used the bottom on a previous DIY, and I thought this would make a cute cutting board on a stand. So I'm attaching that to the back of the sign using some hot glue, just trying to make sure that it's centered. Once that glue sets, I'm going to go in with a drill and a drill bit and drill a hole in the top to make it look like the handle on the cutting board. Then I'll go in with some sandpaper and sand that down nice and smooth. I wanted to keep the chalkboard part of this sign in that color, so I am going to use some painter's tape to tape that off so that I'll be able to get the inside edges of the outside frame in the color, which I'm using antique wax made by Waverly. I'm going to apply that with the brush, making sure that I do get those inside edges right there where the painter's tape is. And then I'll go in with a lint-free cloth and wipe most of that wax off to lighten up the color. And I just think this color is so pretty. Once I wipe that off, I do make sure that I get the entire piece. I also got the back of the piece because it's freestanding. You could possibly see the back, so I wanted it to all have the same color. And I'm also going to apply this wax to some wooden beads that I had on hand, and I didn't have a lot of the same size, so I'm just going to be using what I already have. And I'll let that wax set up before I string those together. I went ahead and removed the painter's tape from the front of the sign because I am going to be using this stencil that I found at Dollar Tree. I was so excited to find this. I don't know if this is new. If this is a new stencil, you guys let me know. I am using a very crooked sponge brush from Dollar Tree, as well as my Waverly white chalk paint. I am just holding the stencil on there pretty firmly, but I am pouncing up and down, putting very light coat of paint on there, just trying to keep it from not bleeding underneath the stencil. And I put the fork in the middle, and I am also taking a baby wipe in between each one of the applications of the stencil and wiping that paint off before I move on to the next one. And I'm also using my hairdryer to dry that paint before I go to the next stencil. The lines were not as crisp as I wanted them to be, so I'm going in with a white paint marker. I purchased this from Dollar General, and just straightening up those edges. And this is turning out so cute. So for the hanger, I am using some jute rope, and I've just applied some tape on the end so that I can string these beads. This is just for decorative purposes. I'm not going to hang it up because it has that base on the bottom, but I just thought it would give it a cute touch at the top to have these beads. And since I didn't have enough, I'm just going to drape the beads around so that you can see them from the front, and I will tie a knot at the top so that they'll stay in place. Once I get that cut down, the excess cut off, I'm using one of these rub-on transfers from Dollar Tree, and I just cut out the word welcome, and I'm going to apply that to the top part of this sign. You just peel the backing off if you've not used these before, and then you'll want to push it down, like burnish it down, and I just grabbed whatever's closest to me, which happened to be my ruler, and you're just pushing those stickers down so that you can peel the top part of that transfer off. And this is how it turned out. I think this is so darling. Let me know what you think of project number 1. Moving on to project number 2, I found these 3 adorable signs at Dollar General for $1 a piece. They are so stinking cute. I removed the metal hangers from the back just by cutting them with my wire cutters, and then I took some pliers and pushed, if there was any little bit of wire sticking up, I pushed that down flat. This project is super easy, but it turns out so cute. I removed the hangers from all 3 pieces, and then I am taking my Waverly white chalk paint, and I'm really just taking my time to get those inside edges and not to get the paint on the chicken wire that's in the back. I painted the outside edges as well as the front, and I did put 2 coats on the front of all 3 of these frames. And then you'll let that paint dry. They are so adorable. To attach these together, I'm going to use some gingham ribbon from Hobby Lobby, and I'm using my speed square so that I can keep all 3 of these frames straight, as well as try to get the same distance between all 3 frames. Then I cut down 4 of the same length of ribbon so that I can attach these to the back of the sign using hot glue. And I'm just trying to keep them all lined up, like the top and the bottom ones lined up, so it looks like it's one continuous piece of ribbon on the back. Once I have those set in place, I'm going to use that same ribbon to create a hanger at the top, just by gluing one side and then looping it around and gluing the other side. And again, I try to keep those lined up with where the same ribbon was going down the pictures. And this is so cute. I absolutely love how this one turned out. Let me know, you guys, what you think of this one. I hope you like it as much as I do. If this is your first time visiting my channel and you are enjoying today's DIYs, I would love for you to click that subscribe button and the notification bell and visit me on Instagram and my website. To all my current subscribers, thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. For project number 3, I'm using this sign from Dollar Tree, and I just used a putty knife to remove the metal hearts from the front. Now you will want to keep one of those because we're going to reuse it later on in the project. I removed the hanger as well as the staples on the back and took some sandpaper and sanded down where all those staples were. I took Waverly White chalk paint and I gave these signs 2 coats as well as the outside edges of it, allowing the coats to dry in between. Now, I don't know about you guys, but my boards were so bowed. Sometimes these signs, they're straight, and sometimes, most of the time, they're pretty bowed. So I'm going to attach them on the back side of the sign, just using some scrap craft sticks that I had lying around. And I thought that it would not only hold the sign together, but I was hoping that it was going to straighten it up a little bit. So I'm trying to keep equal pressure on each side as I'm pushing these craft sticks down. And that's why you see me using so many craft sticks. I finally do get it pretty straight. It's not completely straight, but it's straight enough. I'm using this wall sticker from Dollar Tree, and some of the wording is attached to each other. So what I wanted to separate, I just went in and cut out with my scissors, and I am going to attach some to the top of the sign and then some at the bottom. And it says, "Faith. It does not make things easy, it makes them possible," which comes from Luke chapter 1, verse 37. And I just love this. It's so beautiful. Once I have those stickers pushed down in place, I went in with some matte Mod Podge, and I went over the stickers, and then I also went over the sign, because if you don't go over the sign, you will be able to see like where you put the Mod Podge on the stickers. I reattached the metal heart to the bottom of the sign using some hot glue. And then I felt like it needed just a little something for the outside edges. So I took my oil-based Sharpie and just went around the outside edge of the entire sign. And I think that made just a big difference. It just kind of makes it pop out a little bit more. I created a hanger using the same gingham ribbon that I used in the previous DIY and just created a loop and glued that to the top part of the sign using some hot glue. You could use some jute cord or whatever you like, or whatever ribbon you like. I just love buffalo check and gingham print. And this sign is finished, and I think it is absolutely darling. Let me know what you think of project number 3. For project number 4 and our final project of today's video, I'm using 4 of these wood pallets from Dollar Tree. I removed the stickers, and I'm going to attach 2 of these together side by side using some hot glue. And I made 2 sets of 2. Once I had those glued together, I went in and made sure that I removed any glue strands as well as any glue that may have seeped through those front parts of the slats, because I'm going to be using some antique Waverly wax, and that will not cover up the glue. I applied the wax just like I did with a previous DIY using a brush, and then going in with my lint-free cloth and wiping most of that wax off. I also made sure that I got the wood pieces that show through each of the slats, as well as the top and bottom edges of each of those slats. I also did the back part of both of these pieces. Once the wax has set up, this is how they look. It's so pretty. I'm going to create some hangers for these. Now I wanted one to go up and down and one to go sideways. I'm using some jute rope to create the hangers, and I just tied a knot on each end, and then I'll glue the knot into the inside part of that slat, the back piece of the wooden pallet, and then I attached it to the back top piece of the other one that's going sideways. Once I have my hangers in place, I do go in with my hair dryer just to heat that up to remove any glue strands that may be lingering around. Now I found these adorable metal stakes from Dollar General for $1 a piece. They are so cute. The rooster says a chick rules this roost, and the cow says work hard and stay humble. I think these are absolutely adorable. I removed the hanger from the top part just using a pair of pliers and bent that out, and then it will just slide right out. As far as the stake on the bottom, they're pretty easy to snap off. All I did was apply some pressure at the bottom and then kind of bend that stake back and forth, and you just wiggle it until it pops right off. And I did the exact same thing for the cow. To attach these to my sign, because they have indentions on the bottom and I kind of want them to stand out off of the sign, I'm using some of these brain teaser pieces from Dollar Tree. They also happen to match perfectly with the pallet wood stain that I used. And I just held the cow up there and lined my blocks up until it would sit evenly without wobbling around. Once I had the placement figured out for the blocks, I attached each one of those blocks to the pallet using E6000 and hot glue. Now I made sure I didn't mix my E6000 and hot glue together, because it doesn't seem to work that well if you kind of mix them together. And I applied that to the pallet, and then I put the glue on top of each of those blocks so that I can set the metal cow down on the top and apply a little bit of pressure until that hot glue sets up. I did the exact same thing for the rooster. Now the E6000 is going to give it that permanent hold, and the hot glue is going to give it that temporary hold until that E6000 sets up. Again, I just lined it up to make sure it wasn't wobbly, and then glued each of those pieces down, and then glued the rooster down on top of that. And I think these are so cute. I love the color and the contrast between the wood and the black and the white. Let me know what you think. You guys, if you have a favorite, please let me know in the comments down below. I would love to know which one is your favorite. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care, and I will see you guys next time.